that didn't happen. Hello, it's Ed. Welcome to the studio, and this week we are going to be looking at developing your own film and how expensive it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another of my little experiments, and this is not one that I recommend you do at home. Even if it works for me, it might well not work for you, and I don't want you to lose your film and waste all those precious exposures trying this out. But I just thought the last time I developed film, I used an Ilford Simplicity kit, which is good for one use. So you can get two 35mm films or one 120 film in a drum, and you can watch the video. I think it's split into two videos. It's one of the earlier ones that I did. I've still got all the gear there, but to buy just the chemicals, I think it cost me about £20. So I could get 2 rolls of film developed for £20. So it's a question of, yeah, if I wanted to do it myself for the fun of doing it myself, or I couldn't get to a lab, then it would be worth doing. But in terms of financial viability, it's just not the way to go. So how about I just see how many films I can put through it and get a usable result. So let's dive in. I'll get the gear out and fingers crossed. Okay, so here we are ready to do our developing. I'm expecting the first batch to come out no problem. It's the second one that might not work, and the third one, I have just no idea, probably nothing at all, but we'll give it a go. I'm going to prepare all my chemicals, get everything ready, and I'll try and talk you through it, but there's a possibility there might be a bit of noise going on, so I might have to just do some captions and we'll voice it over later, but we'll see how we get on. I've got 3 rolls of 135 film, and I've got a 120 down there as well, which I'm going to use. If I get to a third batch, I'm going to do 120 as a third batch, but I'm going to do 2 35s in the first batch and then 135 in the second, just in case it doesn't work. I don't want to waste a second film. We'll see how we get on preparing the chemicals. So fixer, stop, developer. If I keep them in that order, hopefully I won't get confused as to which is which. I've got my Ilford starter pack of chemicals. So this was just over £20, about £23. You can get the individual sachets, developer, fixer and stop, and wetting agent. I tend to not use the wetting agent, so if I was going to rebuy, I'd probably just get the 3 stop, developer and fixer, and it actually kind of works out cheaper to buy them individually in the places that I've looked than buying the kit. But for this experiment, we're going to use the kit. So, developer, fixer, stop, and the wetting agent I'm just going to put in here for now, because I probably won't use that. I know I should, but I probably won't. I've got my gloves here, and I've warmed some water up so I can get these to the right temperature. I need my thermometer. Because it's very important to develop at the right temperature. I'm going to be developing at 20 degrees because it's quite chilly in here today. And that takes 6.5 minutes for a 400 film. I think it only takes 5 minutes for the 100 ASA film, which is the 120. So if we get onto that, I'll need to remember to change my settings. But one thing I'll do just before I mix my chemicals, I will just make sure I need to cut the film leaders off these just to save time, because things will start cooling down as I go along and I don't want that to happen. So you need to just remove the leader here so it attaches nicely. And also at this point, if any of your leaders have got stuck inside the canister, you need to fish them out, and I did a little video just explaining how you do that simply without any special tools, so you can watch that if you want. I said use double-sided sticky tape, which is what you should do. If you haven't got double-sided sticky tape, it is possible to do it with single-sided, and you just stick a piece of it to the other piece, but it's more difficult, and you want to make sure you don't get too much bulk, or it just sticks to the furry bits here and can let some light in, so you don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to let light in. Right, I've labelled my films which are going to go first, so that's that one. I'm doing these in order of importance because I'm expecting the first batch to come out okay. So my favourite films, which actually have stuff on which I want to keep, I'm going to do first. So I've put the black tops on those. The grey top is the one which I just shot. I'll do some bonus content. 135 subscribers I got, so I did a 135 film in 135 minutes, and this is it, and it was a bit of a disaster, so don't really care what's on that. If it disappears, it disappears. Okay, so now I'll put on the gloves, which you always do if we're using chemicals, and now the mixing, and it's very important that we don't get confused as to which is which. Spoiler alert, you might see what happens later. In fact, actually, I will address what happened now because it's just so embarrassing. I have to get it off my chest before I go any further. This isn't the first time I've done this experiment. I actually did it last week. You will see the terrible error that I made, which is that I poured the developer back in after the stop bath instead of the fixer, and I continued then to use the chemicals back to front for all the batches, and so nothing basically came out. Amazingly, the first set of negatives that I did with double developer did actually come out. They were incredibly thick and I could tell there was something wrong with them as soon as I saw them, but I couldn't work out what it was. But every other batch I did after that just came out with a blank strip of celluloid that had had everything washed off its surface. So complete disaster. I watched myself back on the video and I realised what I'd done, and I just thought, you idiot. And then I went out and bought a new lot of chemicals. And here we are. Right, developer in the developer. Every last drop out of that. Stop in the stop. That's the only one that's a different colour, so you can usually tell which one that is because it's orange. Looks like sort of very strong Lucozade. Would not drink it. And this one is the stop bath. So this one's the fixer, which looks exactly the same as the developer, which is why labelling is so important. Because we wouldn't want to put fixer in first and then developer afterwards, would we? Who knows what would happen then? We might even put in developer twice if we got confused. Only an idiot would do that. Okay, so now we're going to add some fresh water to these to make them up to 600 millilitres each. But I'm going to make it up to about 500 because I'm going to be adding some warm water to bring it up to temperature. That way we might not need to use a water bath. Okay, so the temperature of that is 14 degrees. So I've boiled some water. It's not boiling anymore. What temperature are we going up to now? If we can't get it up to temperature, we'll use a water bath. There we go, they're all up to 600. Put that away. And let's see what temperature we're on here. We are on 22, perfect. So that's cooling down, we will load our films. So I need to put this into here, which is my dark room, my dark box. Sure everything's in there because I don't have to open this afterwards. Now I'm going to load the reels onto here. I'm going to do this in the light because it's really hard to do in the dark. I have done it in the dark, but it's really hard to do. So I'm just going to start them off here and then put them in there to finish. So it's only the bit of the film which hasn't actually been exposed that goes there. So that's one. That nearly went back in there. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm going to try and gently pop those in here without letting the spools get out. There we go. And then I need to close up this so that no light can get in. And then I get my hands through here, get the films ready. Okay, now this one. One's on. I put a little sign on there saying remember to take off your watch, because it lights up, because it's an Apple Watch and they light up if you get a message or wiggle your hand too much. It's there, but I didn't do it. Fortunately, I've not actually put my hand far enough into these for the watch to go in. The watch is actually still outside the dark box. But it just goes to show there's so many things to think about. It's really important to be methodical. Take your time, don't panic. But I know that there's somebody who's going to arrive soon and start making lots of noise in the next room, so I'm trying to get through this quickly, and more haste, less speed, or certainly it's possible to mess things up. Right, those are both on the reels, and I've snapped the ends of the reels, the film cartridges off with my bare hands because I didn't put the scissors in the box. Now I just need to find the other parts of the drum to make it light tight. Okay, so the reel's in there. You can feel the reel is in. Don't know if it's in the right way up. Okay, and that's in there. Now I'm finding the stirrer. And if I pop that in, I'll know if I put the other thing in the right way up. Yes, I have, because I can feel it's going round. Okay, and then I need to put the lid on to make it light tight. Okay, so we're light tight, so I can now, there we go. So our films are in here. This is number 1, so I'm expecting this to work. What temperature are we on here now? We're close to 24 degrees. I wonder if we should do it at 24. At 24 degrees, it's just 5 minutes 30, and we can do the next one at 20. Okay. Developer going in. Lid goes back on. And we need to agitate this every 30 seconds or so. I'll just do one inversion straight away just to make sure that all the developer is mixing with all the film. So these are pictures of a friend of mine, and he came to visit the studio. I took some pictures of him. Then we went for fish and chips, and I took some more pictures there. So it'd be nice if they came out, and also went to the fireworks display at the local school, which was fun. So hopefully there'll be some black and white fireworks shots on there. And the second role, I went to see a gig. A friend of mine has a band, but I wasn't able to stay. I had to rush back. So I took some pictures on the way back of Stockport at night. So hopefully they will come out as well. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We pull the developer back into the developer. And we add the stop bath. And we have 10 seconds of this. I'm just going to put the developer down here so I don't get it confused with the fixer. One thousand, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. That should be long enough to get the stop to work. in with the fixer. That needs 3 to 5. And then we need our water for washing the film. So the next part of the process doesn't need to be light tight, because once the fixer's done its job, if there is anything there, it's fixed. So light ceases to be an issue, so we can take the lid off. And there we go, that's 3 minutes. How we rinse. As I said, we don't need to be light tight anymore, so let's bob that there. Just make sure that whole reel's covered. Before I drop it somewhere. Right, moment of truth. Yes, success, as you would expect with this, since it's the first roll. But it's still nice to see that we do have images. Oops, let's not. Now we could apply wetting agent now, which would probably be a good idea, but I'm not going to because I'm in a hurry. And just squeegee off the water there with my fingers. So hang this one to dry. There we go. Hang that here. Is that high enough up? Yeah, so this reel also has images on it. Hooray. So again, we squeegee off the excess water. And hang it to dry. Okay, so that's our first negatives done, and it worked well, but then we expected that because we've not reused anything, so if it should work fine. What we now need to do is see if reusing it will work. So basically just do everything again now. This time I will remove my watch. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing twice. We'll just whiz through with a bit of music. I need a coffee. I will get one after this. If this has been a success, I'll go and get a coffee. Well, I'll go and get a coffee whether it's a success or not, but I will go and have a happy coffee if it's been a success. If it's been a success, I'll get myself a caramel macchiato. If it's been a failure, I shall just have an espresso and cry a little bit. Right. Moment of truth. Is there going to be anything on this, or is it going to be like last time? Oh my word! Look at that, victory. To the naked eye, just very quickly like that. That looks no worse than the last two that I did. Amazing. So you can reuse it. But can you reuse it twice? We shall see. I'm going to have to go out and shoot that 120 film quickly now. I'll just put the chemicals to one side in a safe place under lock and key. And I'll be back very shortly to do the next one. Oh, look at that. Okay, I'm back. I've put the chemicals in a water bath to get them up to temperature again. And while that's happening, I can unload my film. I've never developed 120 film before, so this is interesting. I haven't got the correct spool for it, so I'm just going to do it loose in the developing tank. So again, it might not work for that reason, but we'll see, won't we? What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this, but I'm not going to put the spool in because obviously that's to fit 35mm. I'm going to unroll this, get rid of the cardboard backing. So there's the backing, which we don't want. This takes less time to develop because it's a 100 ASA film, so we're going to set it for 5 minutes. It works. That's the third one and it's come out. Well, I think that was a pretty successful experiment in the end, don't you? Obviously, the first time I did it, I just messed it up completely, but that was just user error and me being half asleep. But when I redid it today, I got 3 batches out of that one use set of chemicals, no problem whatsoever. The third batch, it was the 120 film, which I've got here, and as you can see, it's a little bit ropey, but that I think is because I don't have a spindle for the developing tank, so the negatives were sticking together all rolled up, and the chemicals just couldn't get to them to make a nice result. Obviously I need to get a proper spindle or find a way to hold the film apart from itself in the developing tank if I'm going to develop 120 film again. But the 35mm films, they turned out absolutely fine. First batch and the second batch identical, at least to the naked eye. I'm going to quickly scan them now, and what I'll do is I'll do a little slideshow just to show you what the results look like up close. The quality might not be as good as I would have got if I'd used fresh developer each time, but the idea is if I really can't get hold of any developer and I need to reuse, you know, I've got a load of films that have to develop really quickly for some unknown reason and there's just no other way of doing it, yes, it will work, or it will probably work. So without further ado, let's go to the slideshow. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but newsflash, I've just come back into the studio 2 days after I developed those other films to see if I could get another roll of Kentmere 400 out of those same chemicals. And as you can see, I need to scan them, check the quality, but they look pretty good to the naked eye. So there we go. Over 48 hours later, 2 different sessions, I've managed to get 4 lots of film developed. So that's pretty impressive, isn't it? I'm not recommending it, but in an extreme situation, it's kind of good to know that it might work. Right, okay, back to past me to wrap up this episode. So without further ado, let's go to the slideshow and you can see up close what I ended up with. Okay, so slideshow over. That's it for another week. Thanks again so much for joining me. It's really great to have you there. Please do like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and whatever you do, have a fantastic week. Hopefully join me back here again next week for something different. And until then, have a good one. Bye for now.